Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for joining me. Happy birthday, Philip.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
And thank you for staying.
We promise not to mention NDC, so stick with us. Olaf, I'm going to start with you. You're responsible for partnerships across all of the group, so all of the airlines within Lufthansa Group, but that includes online travel agencies, MetaCerts, the GDS, Google, OpenAI, and frankly, anything else that comes along. Tell us where you're seeing real innovation happening.
Yeah, very good question. So maybe just to get a little bit of the background, some time ago we decided to really bundle all of the partner activities for the Lufthansa Group, retail partnerships we have to say, because we believe that on one side we need to do more partnerships, but on the other side it's really fundamental for innovation. So our main goal is also to innovate, or to be more specific, to co-create and create new things with the partners. Similar like a long time ago, or also still today, we're innovating on aircraft, being the first ones on the 747-800, working together with Boeing or Airbus. It's now about innovation in retailing and other topics. So asking the question, or coming to your question, where is the highest, what is the biggest innovation? Difficult to say, because we have so many different projects, and there are many, many small topics having quite a high impact on the customer. But just to mention one topic, which is really something we're looking, of course, at, is about conversational AI. So one innovation is also here from us to see how can we introduce conversational bookings and inspiration. We did a pilot case, could elaborate maybe afterwards. But there are many, many topics. It's difficult to prioritize and take out one, but always we have to keep the customer in mind. What does the customer want? And that's stability in operations. So for example, we have a great innovation project with Google. We try to optimize our operations.
And I think it's subjective, right? Because say, a GDS technology could come a long way compared to where it was 5 years ago, but then we have that kind of wham moment with AI. So it's definitely subjective. I want to come to you, Philip. Partnerships, essentially all about plugging in content or functionality or driving efficiency. How would you say airlines have advanced in terms of partnerships in recent years? Because post-COVID, there was all this talk about the need for plugging in different sources of information, of traveler intent, that sort of thing.
Thank you, Linda. I think we're getting at a stage where we don't see winning as a zero-sum game in the industry. And I think this is the first time in the technological cycles where companies, airlines, and other parts of the industry, distributors and supporting systems as GDSs are starting to open up a little bit more to connect the data points across the customer and traveler experience. Obviously, AI is accelerating it. Obviously, airlines such as Lufthansa Group is trying to make sure that the data is not abused, but I think there's a lot more openness to the idea of let's share more information, because as we do, we're going to create better customer experiences. So in the cycle, I think it's still early, but I would say it's not like 5-10 years ago when everyone was trying to hold the information quite closely and say we're not going to give it out. It is a lot more open now, if you will.
Yeah.
Just maybe to add on this, I fully agree with you that it's for the airlines, it's early on the circle, on the cycle. But I think it's also, we have many challenges, obstacles in the airline industry, be it that it's something where we have different data banks, we have different legacy changes and all of that. So then that's exactly where AI can help us to overcome those challenges. We do not have one data storage like maybe Amazon or the other one. It's really fragmented, and we still have old legacy systems, and that's where AI comes in, which is a great opportunity for us.
Hopefully we'll dig in a little bit more to those challenges in a few minutes. Olaf, sticking with you, where's the innovation around kind of airline transformation and the ability to retail? And I don't mean NDC in the back end, I mean air inventory across social channels, across AI channels, and frankly, newer channels to come.
Well, I think, first of all, as I said, there are a lot of challenges ahead, old legacy systems, and we have to really create one booking. That's the first thing we have to do. Sounds easy, like you know it from Amazon or others. But we need to have one database which enables us to have in one PNR, as we call it, the possibility to buy tickets, ancillaries, and everything. Very basic, but it will take 4 to 5 years until we have really this in place. But speaking more about the future, I think there are different kinds of innovations, be it now also on the technology side, not to speak about AI, be it new aircraft technology with, for example, where we can try to avoid less emissions and all of that, but focusing more on the retailing side. For me, the biggest topic is really about Gen AI and, of course, the agentic AI, which is everybody speaking about, but we still have to think about what does it mean for the industry, specifically what does it mean also for us, and I think it will change dramatically everything.
I think it's a good time to share what the work you've been doing with Swifty and Swiss and how that might be kind of implemented across the group.
So first of all, we are all knowing that there are the new platforms coming up where the customers go for inspiration, be it the social medias like TikTok, be it especially also the conversational platforms like Gemini, ChatGPT, and all of them also getting into with new players like Perplexity. So I think for us, it's a two-way street. Number one, we have to see how we get positioned as Lufthansa Group on those platforms, be it with advertising and other means. That's not only true for airlines, that's true for all of us, for all companies in the world. And the second way is really the other way around. If we also ourselves would like to offer and need to offer conversational abilities on our platform. So I think we did it, as you said, a pilot case where we offered to our customers the possibility to do conversational bookings. That means really you could do a booking just in on a ChatGPT mode in less than 90 seconds. It was a test case, so we offered it to half of the customers, the others not, so that we could do A and B testing, and we did afterwards a market research. We asked the customers, what do you prefer, the traditional way? And we looked what were the conversion rates, or do you prefer rather the new way of conversation? And guess what? Still today, the majority was asking or was preferring the traditional way. We don't know exactly. Maybe it's early days. Maybe the customers, and we need all to still learn this. Maybe it's a different piece if you want to buy an airline ticket for maybe 5,000 euro or a T-shirt. But I think one topic is we have to differentiate between inspiration, where this works well, and there's a lot of appetite on it, and the customers had good feedback on that, and really doing the booking. But this is exactly, we don't know where it's going to. But I think it's important to test, to learn, and we will still see what will be the solutions. But we believe we also need to give ourselves the possibility to offer conversational services. And I think the big possibility lies in combining inspiration, booking, and especially servicing, especially in the servicing part.
Can I ask out of curiosity?
Sure.
Sorry.
No, please do.
Where did you do the test? Because people preferring the old way, the traditional way of clicking through a screen. Was that a specific market, or you did it globally?
Well, we had, first of all, we did an A/B testing because we offered it to half of them. All of that was done in 7 markets only.
In 7 markets.
And then afterwards, we did the market research, asking basically the customers who had the chance to do both, what did you prefer?
And you didn't ask them why they chose one versus the other?
Yes, we did afterwards. In the market research, we did a survey and we asked them online afterwards. And also we had some focus groups where we had this live and asked the customers, how did you work with the conversation one? What did you like, what you didn't like, and all of that. So were really great learnings, and overall it went well. But as I said, there are also conversions on the conversational side, but still the customers, the majority, 64% prefer the traditional way of booking. However, if you ask the Gen Z customers, it was already the opposite.
Was there a general consensus on why they preferred the traditional way of booking?
I think it was not a clear reason. First of all, it was still trust.
Yeah,
because you do not know about the payment, you don't know about, is that really, if you want to book a flight, 5,000 euro, is it really conversation you want to do that? But there was not a clear one single answer or reason why they did prefer the traditional way so far, I have to say.
Okay.
In my view, this is, for the first time, I think, ever, we have technology that is so powerful which precedes the customer needs.
Yeah.
If we take a look historically through aviation and beyond, it's always like, oh, we want to do this, but the technology is not there. And this is the first time we can move so fast. Even with the customer payments, if we all remember the first payments that were happening online, there was a nice little padlock that said verified payment, so we felt comfortable and confident to give our card. And that doesn't exist anymore. But interesting that Gen Z is already moving far beyond. They don't want to click buttons and enter information that should be done.
I mean, if clearly customers aren't sure about it yet from your experiment, and you talked about data and data readiness as well. So how do you therefore go about formulating a strategy around something none of us know a huge amount yet?
First of all, I think we still need to learn and test and learn. That's, I think, the strategy, I think, openly speaking, is not really clear, finally, because things are moving so fast. But of course, the overall strategy would be, as you know, not speaking about NDC, but we always want, of course, to get the direct access to the customer. And that's why we think that also this kind of AI possibilities and chances and risks. But the strategy would be in any case to get as much as possible the direct access to the customers. And this could be then also by a conversational platform or being presented or look also represented on those platforms. That would be the strategy.
Yeah. Philip, with your sort of wider industry hat on, what do you think AI's potential is to really disrupt aviation industry?
I think there's a number of places where we can think about the application of AI, and just to pick up on what Olaf said, the adoption of that technology and the strategy that you do, and that's for all of us. By the time we have a clear strategy, the technology would have moved a little bit further down the road. So we're almost implementing a strategy from 2 years ago, now that the tech is a lot more enabled. So now within the airline industry, the way we see it is you can apply it at the customer end, whether that is the inspiration or the booking experience. Most likely, we're going to see a lot of wins in customer support. Some of you have already probably experienced that. So that's the low-hanging fruit. I think taking AI into operations is an important step for a lot of the companies. How do you get better at pricing your products? How do you get better at network planning and making sure that crew is at the right stage and at the right time? While the systems do exist today, they could be supported through an AI interface. And then eventually, I think a lot of the work that we do in terms of, and we've talked about it at many of the events, the right product in front of the right customer at the right time could be enabled at scale, finally, I think, with AI. But first, I think we'll see it at some of the pain points, which is customer support. Then we'll see it a little bit around the booking and the inspiration, then into the operations, and then finally, like, across the organization. Some good examples. Delta, for example, announced at the Consumer Electronics Show earlier this year that they're releasing Concierge, which is a way to have one app to handle pretty much everything. There's a lot of Gen AI being used. United Airlines in the United States actually saw a very good response to a customer agent that is responding to requests and being even proactive. Your flight is delayed, and this is the gate where you need to go to. So we're starting to see this. But I think it's going to take us quite some time to get to this promised land of
and these are great
agentic
implementations, great examples. But what about, you know, do you think there's the potential for some area to be seriously disrupted?
I think pricing will be seriously disrupted. How we think about what it means to sell a product, and that product is not just the seat, and as we call them today, ancillaries. So the product is the full product. Philip goes there with priority boarding because he wants to fly EasyJet, for example, while for you it could be, I want to have 2 bags and sit in front of the plane. Right now, those things are done separately, and we're trying to guess what we need to give you. I think that product formulation and the price that we put as an aviation industry in front of the customer will be combined and be one. So that's the disruption, I think.
Which goes back to what you're saying about one booking, one PNR, or probably not even a PNR at some point. But
I think, just to add on yours, I think also you're right, pricing is one of the key topics. I would put it a bit broader, revenue management, which is in our definition also steering everything. But I think if I would really try to single out 2 topics having the highest impact on aviation industry, maybe I'm wrong, we'll see it in 2 or 3 years. Number 1, it's about behind the scenes, about productivity, efficiency, all that we can do. I think Greg was saying this in his talk. Yeah? We have hundreds, thousands of agents who need and who serve the customer. And we're really not good in that. And we have to improve here. And that's where there is one. That's number 1. And number 2 is really the disruption of the search ecosystem. We get so much traffic from search engines, mainly Google today. And we are happy about that. But this is about to change. Yeah, it's going on social media. It's on the new chat platforms. And let's say the new platforms of the world are the conversation platforms and the social media. And this is, for me, one of the most important disruption topics for the airline industry.
Can I pick on that for a second? Because I thought mostly around the airline as an airline operation. In terms of distribution, I think you're 100% right. We don't know where it's going to end up being. Everyone claims to be building the best agent possible. Most of the brands, I used to work for a meta search engine, will build their own. But ultimately, this is one of those rare openings and moments where we see that maybe the top of the funnel from the Google search will move into Google Gemini and AI. They released it. We'll see OpenAI, which is currently 500 million monthly active users. Yeah. This is incredible in terms of how many people go there for their everyday usage. So then the question becomes, does a brand exist? And if it does, is it just a pipe of data between an AI agent and ultimately fulfilling the transaction? The airline needs to provide the service. Or does it not? And I don't know the answers, but I'll be quite stressed out to be thinking about what happens when it doesn't matter where the booking is completed, as long as I fly with Lufthansa and I trust my agent.
I've been hearing the last couple of days that some people saying that the brand will exist if the emotion around the brand exists. So if I love Lufthansa, then the brand will exist, because I'll continue to search for it, even on AI. I'll be looking for that fare or whatever.
Fair, and they're the provider of the service, though. But would you be attached to Airbnb as the provider of the rental, or could it be Verbio? Could it be somebody else, founder? And if that brand is not built enough to signal quality, then maybe it wouldn't matter, because if you're just comparing the same source, the Lufthansa flights, on 5 sites,
well,
doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, and that's what they say about the cream always rising to the top, don't they? So if you're creating that emotional connection and the quality, then you've got to hope that that will come out somehow. But the brand's got to invest in that, haven't they?
B2C will be hard in the future.
Yeah, it will, yeah.
Maybe that's why I moved in B2B.
Okay, biggest factor, I want to get a comment from each of you. Olaf first. Biggest factors holding back further development, innovation generally?
You mean the factors to which are needed as success factors, right?
Yeah, just, what are those greatest challenges that are holding back further so mindset, for example?
Okay. First of all, I think we have old legacy systems, as I said in the beginning, different data sources which need to be combined and all of that. Let's take that aside. I think on the other side, with all respect to the great achievements, and we are seeing here with Gemini and the models, there's still a lot of hallucination. And if we want to have the direct contact from the customer to this kind of agents, for the time being, we are not doing so. We still have a human in between, and we use the tools as a co-pilot, so to say. So still something we need to work on, but on the other side, I think the models still need to be further. Third topic, as you say, it's the mindset. We are a huge company, 120,000 employees, and a big part also will have contact or should use AI, so we need to train. This is also something. And I think even more, it would require new job profiles. So before we had, for example, we use AI or GenAI for content creation. So before you had the classical profile of a marketeer. And then you've got, let's call them the GenAI experts, or the ones working with the models. But now you need maybe a GenAI marketeer, or whatever you want to call it. So I think it will require completely new abilities also from the colleagues.
Well, I think one of the OTAs got rid of pretty much their whole marketing department recently, so that's pretty scary stuff. Factors holding us back?
Data quality. I think the data quality in general within the industry, in any part of the organization, even if we think about your own internal documents as an organization at Lufthansa, unless the quality is really high up, whatever model you put on this, it will get things wrong. I think the models are moving at a pace which is incredibly fast. Just 2 years ago, we didn't know what ChatGPT is. Now we're so impressed with it. It was hallucinating a lot. Now it's not that much anymore. But I think ultimately the fuel that we put in for those decisions to be made comes down to the information we feed into those systems. So I think us sharing a lot more of that information, making sure that the quality is really high, is something that will be a perennial struggle, and it's going to be an evergreen. And that's holding us back a little bit right now, because we don't have that yet clean, piped well data flows across the industry to make sure that an agent can work with this party and that party and the third party equally well. Yeah. So I think this is holding us back. On the mind shift, I completely agree. We all say that we use ChatGPT for explaining things to our 8-year-olds, but at the same time, once you put it in a business setting, you need to have a very high quality and bar when this passes your judgment that it is okay to be used. And I think it will take us a while, even when that bar is met, to just adopt it and say that's the new normal now. Yeah.
Maybe just to add one challenge, which is also on the same side an opportunity, is that the speed is so fast of technology. Yeah, we had ChatGPT, I don't know, let's say starting 2 years ago. Now we are speaking about agentic AI. So we are just now thinking how we can use ChatGPT, or let's say conversational models, but we are not yet there yet. So I think it's very difficult, probably for all of us, but especially because of what you said for the airline industry, to cope up with the actual speed of change and also the speed of innovation which happens in the industry, or which happens on the AI side.
Mm-hmm. The mindset is interesting. Southwest Airlines CEO said capabilities might have been overblown. United Airlines CEO said that they're probably doing more AI than anyone, but obviously experimental. Is Carsten Spohr, your group CEO, is he all in?
Of course, I have to see what I'm saying here. No, but to tell the truth, yes, he is, because of course he has seen that the importance of that, which is radical change. But to be fair, I think we have to say there are so many other topics which are on the radar of the CEO, yeah? Be it the late deliveries of the aircraft, be it about consolidation, which at least in the short to medium term have a higher impact than what is on AI. So that means there are many other topics on his radar, and maybe sometimes they have, probably right-wise, still priority. But yes, we have seen that, but there's still more to be done.
Okay, we've got a couple of minutes to go here. Olaf, if budget regulation and operational constraints were not issues, what tech would you implement on planes tomorrow?
On planes. So first of all, I think what I think it's getting more and more important is about sustainability. So one topic is, of course, to get new aircraft with new technology, but there are also other topics we can do with AI. To reduce, for example, emissions by wise and intelligent routings to avoid or to reduce contrails. So that's what I would do.
Can I answer this one?
Go
Internet, universal to everyone for free, fast speed.
Okay. Philip, is there a piece of airline technology that hasn't changed in 20 years but probably should not change?
GDSs, we underestimate them. I love to pick on them, but their technology ability to process billions of transactions and reconcile availability and pricing is mind-blowing. So I do want them to change. At the same time, I don't think they should necessarily change.
Okay, nice. Olaf, if AI ran your airline for a day, what's the first thing it would optimize or break?
Well, you mean in the airlines, or you mean what do you mean exactly?
If it ran the airline,
I would run it if it would run Lufthansa Group Airlines.
Yeah.
Well, I think I would give even more focus probably on new technologies, on digital services as much as possible.
But if AI ran your airline, not you.
If AI, sorry.
Yeah.
If I would, okay. Well, I think it's really getting more focus on the customer with all the needs to better understand what the customer wants and to help the customers out.
Yeah, very good. And Philip, what's something that's technologically possible today, but logistically impossible in the airlines?
Oh, wow. Vertical takeoff. I think that technology is available, but I think logistically to get to the right safety, it will be incredibly difficult. So that's one piece of technology which is non-AI, I would say. Nice.
Before I thank my guests, I'd just like to say that everyone at Phocuswright our thoughts are very much with everyone affected by the India air crash earlier today. And with that, thank you very much, Olaf. Thank you, Philip.
Thank you for the invitation.